society, relationships, and human behavior. I'm Grace, and here on the Grace Report, we dive into stories beyond the headlines. Whether it's reality TV drama, celebrity scandals, or royal family intrigue, I'm here to break it all down. What it means, why it matters, and how it reflects the world we live in. Join the conversation, share your take, and let's make sense of the culture shaping our lives one story at a time. Still? I can't. Okay, hang on. Let me see what is going on. This is weird. This is really, really weird. Okay. If I go. You guys hear me now? Okay, now you guys say you can hear me. Okay, phew. I don't know what this like weird mojo is this entire week. I'm blaming everything on that stupid time change. I really, really am, because what the heck, you guys, right? But Jaleesa, I had not heard that story. That was absolutely crazy. I'm too scared to even go looking, because I do remember there being a big story about this lady like pooping in an airplane, and then the TMZ actually published the images and stuff. So I'm too traumatized to even go and look and see what that's all about. But thanks for bringing that to our attention, girl. Good morning, Stephanie, Jaleesa, Jessica, Venetia, Caroline, Ali, Monica, Cecilia, Ashley, and Crystal is here, and everybody. Shemjem's back. Hello, hello, hello. Aaron's here. Thank y'all so much for letting me know about the audio issue. I do not know what is happening, y'all. Like, it has been a mess this week. Hey, Theo, nice to have you back as well. You guys, I have a question for you. If somebody comes to your house to do a service for you, and they do a terrible, terrible, terrible job, and on top of that, they do a rush job on it, and then they forget like a piece of equipment of theirs, what do you do? Because let me show you some pictures, okay? I sign up with this cleaning service here in France. It's called Wig Zolciak. And I always talk about how, like, here in France, the government pays 50% of it. So essentially, I only pay 40 euros a month to have someone come and clean my place. Like, it's nothing. It's cheaper than my phone bill was in Canada, right? So this person, like, and so you can like choose, it's kind of like scheduled. You can have it every week. You can have it every 2 weeks, whatever, right? And so unless you cancel the person, like, they can come back to you. So it's crazy because this guy comes, and they're supposed to do 2 hours of cleaning. And after an hour and a half, he tells me he's done. And I say, oh, that's quick. Are you sure? He's like, yeah. And so I get up, I look at my carpet. Oh, here it is, you guys, my carpet. So I look at it, I say, this doesn't look done. This doesn't look like you vacuumed or cleaned or anything like that. He goes, oh, like your vacuum is like super weak. It doesn't have any suction or whatever. I said, but I was here. I didn't hear you even try to do the vacuum or even try to use a broom or anything. Like he kind of just like left it like that. So I said, that's weird. And then, but then I said, okay, whatever. I want this guy out of my house. And this is the second time he's come. And it's the second time that I've been disappointed with his work. The first time I was like, okay, maybe like he's just trying to like, figure out this place, my cleaning supplies, blah, blah. And then I look at the counter. Take a look at the state of my counter. This is what I took as soon as he closed the door and left. This is the state of my counter after someone I paid to clean my house came. And then, you're on top of like your microwave, if you keep like, a little coffee making thing, one of those Turkish coffee things, it was like that. So this guy came to my house. He cleaned in an hour and a half and he said he was done early and my house still looks like that. So I was going on the website to cancel and say, you know what, and to send them the pictures and say, I don't need this guy to come here anymore. Like, I don't know, like he doesn't know what he's doing. I don't want this guy to come here. And then I look in the corner and I'm looking at it now and he has this like rod that he uses like as an extension to do the mopping and stuff. And so he had just like left. So I said, oh, like you forgot like this thing, like, you might want to come back and get it. He's like, no, it's all good. I'll come back and get it like, at our next cleaning appointment. I said, the last thing I want is for this man to come back and waste my time. I don't want him to come back, you guys. Like I was already planning on canceling him and having one of the other people that's come in the past to come back. Cause absolutely freaking not, you guys. And like, if I were to show you the other rooms, I had to clean after this guy left. So what's the point of him, right? Anyway, laisse tomber. Like, I'm super duper irritated by that, but I'm going to see what I could do about it. My sister was like, Grace, you shouldn't have told him that he forgot it there because now like, you're stuck with him coming back. So I'm trying to figure out like, should I just let him come back and pick up the thing, but then not hire him to do the cleaning? Because I really do not want him to come back and do the cleaning. And personality wise as well, it's not a good match. I don't like his personality either. Like, I'm sorry. I don't. But I feel rude. I'm super non-confrontational. I don't want to like make him feel bad, but that's where I'm at, y'all. Kristen says it's a full moon tonight, y'all. Make a wish. And some of you secret werewolves, we'll be keeping an eye on you in case you transform. Good morning to you. Good morning to you, Ronnie, as well. Bree, Ramster, and everybody else who is joining us for today's morning report. It looks like y'all are not at all impressed with that man's cleaning capabilities. Neither am I, you guys. And I'm especially pissed because I had to pay for it. Like granted, the feds are paying like, half of the thing. So whatever. But still, even $1 was too much for such crappy service. You know what? That's a good question, Allie. I'm going to send these pictures and see what I could do about it because I'm just not happy. Teresa says, never trust a man with cleaning. LMFAO unless it's my man. You know what? That's what my sister and my friend said too. She said, no offense, Theo. This is, anytime we talk about men, you're the exception. Okay, Theo? She said, listen, don't let them clean. Don't let them clean for you. Do not let them be your Instacart drivers. So yeah, now I have learned my lesson. I'm not doing it. I can't. And Remster says she would have done a better job. Listen, I think that I would have done a better job than this too. It's just that I hate to clean. I really, really do. Cecilia says pay and just never use them again. So what do I do about like his thing? His like little broomstick is here. I'm like, do I throw it out the window? Like when he comes by, like for the awkward confrontation? I don't know. Thank you, Julissa. It feels inspired by a girl from some movie, but I can't even remember what movie it even was. Stephanie had the worst experience with a cleaner. It's like she cleaned my bathroom mirrors with mud. Yeah, I paired for X amount of time and the girl left early and didn't clean the second. Right? It's so annoying. I'm really, really upset about this, you guys, like genuinely. Again, let me show you guys in case some of you guys are just popping in wondering what we're talking about. I just had my house cleaned. And this is what some of my like surfaces look like. This was the top of my microwave after that man left. Okay. And he left 30 minutes early, talk about he's done. And he didn't even go clean the inside of my oven, go clean the inside of my, like make yourself busy. This is my countertop after this man supposedly cleaned. This is my rug after this man supposedly cleaned that too. He was so useless. I'm sorry, but what the F? Anyway. rant over. Let's get into today's morning report, shall we? We've got a lot to talk about, including former Teen Mom star Farrah Abraham giving out some much highly anticipated dating advice, because we all know her dating life is going exceptionally well and that she is the person to turn to for this sort of information. Teyana Taylor also made out like a bandit in her divorce from former NBA player Iman Shumpert. The Real Housewives of Atlanta suffered a terrible viewership for their debut episode of the 16th season of the show. Wendy Williams' guardianship, or the facility that is currently holding her hostage, is actually seeking to potentially press criminal charges against her niece for trying to save her, and also just taking her out to dinner as well. It's getting very, very ugly. Wendy also spoke to Harvey Levin and the team over at TMZ to tell them that she has been threatened with even more sanctions from the judge overseeing her conservatorship as well. Her life is already extremely restrictive, but they're looking to make it even worse for her. Wig Zolciak, former star of the Real Housewives of Atlanta, is also back in the dating pool. She's got a lover of some sort. She gave a little bit of a hint about him without wanting to give too much. Then we've got Kim Kardashian. I had no idea that she was as desperate as she was when she married Chris Humphries, because now in the latest episode of the Kardashians reality show, she talked about how she's the one who bought that ring for herself. Y'all remember that giant, like 15 karat emerald diamond ring that came out of Kim's pocket? Imagine this being your face card. You being this lethally beautiful. You being so damn rich and desirable, yet so desperate that you would go ahead and buy your own ring for a man you don't even like to marry you. And then for all of that to end in just a couple of months, and then for you to have to go ahead and give him back the ring that you bought. Crazy. And, as I was mentioning to Jaleesa earlier, I said, listen, I didn't hear about the gymnastics doo-doo story, but I did hear about the track and field molly-whopping story. And I definitely want to discuss that with you guys. So buckle up, you guys. We've got an awful lot to get into in today's show. I just saw this comment and oh my God, Ali MDL. That is absolutely hilarious. Now, you guys, let's start off with Farrah Abraham. I actually have a video of her. She popped on over to page 6. Like we talked about in a prior episode of the Morning Report, Farrah Abraham is launching a comedy show, right? And so she is trying to do a lot of promotion for it and whatnot. And so in doing so, she decided to head on over to Page 6 magazine headquarters to talk about dating. Last time I heard, she was in a relationship with this guy that she said was like the ideal guy. They were going to get married and everything, but apparently that didn't work out, which, listen, no shame in her game. It's hard out here in these streets. But in the meantime, she knows exactly what it is that she's looking for, and she wants to help you be on the same wavelength as well and to land your rich man. So take a listen to some of her advice.
You're ready for these tips? You're ready to change your game? Number 1, go to a trauma center, do relationship inventory. So you know what you're attracting. Only millionaires and billionaires. 2, cleanse your aura. Meditate. I always like to do like those 5-minute abundance, receiving abundance ones. That'll hook you up. Next, go to the Peninsula Hotel. Only like 1,000, 2,000 and up a night hotels, okay? Go down to the bar. Only men who make millions of dollars. Sit at a table and be like, no one talk to me. They're going to come over and you're going to have your pick, okay? And whoever's going to pay you on the spot, that's your man. And if he's married and has kids your age.
So there you go. Dating advice from Farrah Abraham. And I'm wondering whether or not it is the sort of advice that you are interested in taking. I personally feel as though she's low-key giving like escorting tips, go to this like, high-end hotel, look sexy, sit at the bar, wait for only millionaires and billionaires, and just all these sorts of things. Listen, hypergamy all you want, but I think that what Farrah does is a little bit different from trying to date rich, if you catch my drift. But shout out to her. The advice was giving very much Shira 7, someone who I find to be very, very funny through TikTok and whatnot. So I don't know if that's something that works for her. I always thought that she got the majority of her boyfriends from like her OnlyFans and her adult content and whatnot. They seem to be people who are like fans of her in that domain. Growing Roses says she has all these tips. Isn't she single? Exactly. It reminds me of Patty Stanger from Millionaire Matchmaker, right? Eternally single, which isn't a problem. However, the expert on relationships for everybody else, right? All right. EHC Bunny says, what happened to Farrah's career as a P-star? Listen, I don't know what she's up to these days. I know she was trying to sell like the molds of her body and stuff. She was doing the conventions and everything. I think she got kicked off of a platform because correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't she did some things that were against the terms of service. I think that some of the scat stuff that she was doing wasn't okay with one of the platforms that she was on, and they kicked her out. I could have sworn there was something to do with Sophia. Like, I don't think she featured her in the content, but I think she could be heard somewhere in the back, like something like that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember she had broken the terms and conditions of various websites, and so that's why she's always bouncing around from platform to platform, especially with her, extreme sort of content that she puts out there, for example, scat and whatnot. And exactly, Jessica, this was prostitution advice. This was escorting advice. This was not real dating advice, Farrah. Very, very odd stuff. Lynn says Farrah is starting to make herself look more normal than Amber. Is she? Do you really think so? Because I thought she came across as unhinged AF. Ali says, so she just watched TikTok and regurgitated someone else's advice. Yeah, basically, it's very clear that she is a Shira 7 girly, and she just wanted to basically repackage that information and maybe try to kind of build up a career as a dating guru on her own or something like that. Again, in which case, I'm not sure. Listen, Shira 7's been married to her husband for like 15, 20 years or something like that, right? And she's taken care of by her husband. So I think that's why people gravitate towards her and her content, whereas I don't think that Farrah has that same kind of foundation to get a fan base that really trusts her sort of advice. Like Elizabeth says, only a crazy person would really listen. This is the fact that people behind the camera thought she was joking when she was 100% serious. Her awkward laugh. One thing about Farrah is she lives on a completely different planet to the rest of us. The amount of money I would pay to spend even 5 hours in that brain and just try to see life and just the world and everything from her perspective, it must be so damn fascinating. For example, she caught up with TMZ, she called TMZ downstairs in the building of the Page Six headquarters, right? And so they did an interview with her to, again, promote her comedy show. And she was like, my comedy show, it's going to be really, really good. There's a lot of very famous, successful people who are going to be coming and supporting me. So she says, there's going to be some people from Saturday Night Live, a very special former Teen Mom co-stars coming as well. But I'm not going to name drop these people, they might get stuck in New York traffic and not come. To me, I thought that I took that as her saying that she's been asking and begging these people to come. Maybe they haven't said anything. Maybe they haven't 100% confirmed or whatever. And she's just trying to put that out there without really name dropping, because if she name drops and these people don't come, which most likely they will not come, she's gonna be like, it was the traffic. Oh, it was something to do with the plane or whatever, right? So good luck, Farrah. Good luck. Listen, I listened to her comedy podcast or her reality podcast and stuff like that. I've tried to recap her books for my channel members and stuff, but we all got so dizzy trying to keep up with what the heck she was saying in, for example, her book, My Teenage Dream Ended. We aborted mission very early on that one. That's the only book in our Teen Mom book club that we had to abandon ship on because it was too hard to even read. It was just a whole string of words that mean literally nothing when put together, at least in the first chapter or two anyway. Why don't we get into Teyana Taylor? I love me some Teyana Taylor. I think she's so beautiful. I think she's so talented and charismatic and whatnot. So you can imagine how thrilled I was to see her divorce settlement, you guys. She, for those who might not know, she was married to former Brooklyn Nets basketball player Iman Shumpert for 8 years. And in their divorce, Teyana is about to receive 4 luxury homes valued at over $10 million, a one-time 7-figure payment, so $1 to $9 million, various luxury vehicles, including a $300,000 Maybach and a $70,000 Mercedes Sprinter, and a tour bus. She also gets to maintain 100% ownership of her businesses. And Iman has to pay her $8,000 per month in child support for their 2 daughters, in addition to having to cover their private school tuition costs. Wow, you guys. How the hell did she walk out with so much? I have seen women marry men with more and walk away with less. And I'm really, really surprised by this. I actually thought that it would be the reverse. I thought she would have to be the one to pay him off, because correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't it said in the past, didn't she say that like she had to shoulder the cost of like their homes? She had to shoulder the cost of their children's tuitions, healthcare, all that sort of stuff. And that Iman was refusing to pay anything, or that like he felt as though like, you know, because she already brings in a good income, he doesn't have to contribute. I could have sworn that that's the way that things were going. And to me, in my mind, that meant that she was the higher earner, and that in this divorce, she would be the one paying him out. So how the hell did all of this get flipped on its head to where he is having to pay up big time? You know, and I do have another question. What are these people divorcing over? I was under the impression that he was a notorious, like reckless, nonstop cheater, but she keeps on insisting that that was not the case. So I'm curious what actually happened in this relationship to cause it to implode, because I love them together. There's this album that Teyana put out. It's not her debut album, but like I like to consider it like her real, you know, big girl debut album. It's VII. And so she talks a lot about like how she started dating Iman and everything. There's a song called Sorry about how beautiful their relationship is and whatnot. And so I feel like I've just been there for the ride from the very beginning for this relationship. I really, really wanted it to last and everything. So I'm sad to hear that it's ended. And I'm still kind of like jarred and confused as to why they've decided to call things off. They had these reality shows with their kids. They were doing these musical collaborations. I still listen to that song that the two of them put out together. It's called Wake Up Love. It's very beautiful. I've always loved Teyana's voice. Iman is actually a pretty good rapper on the song as well. So what happened? Oh, you know, that makes me want to listen to that Toni Braxton Babyface song. Where did we go wrong? Where did we go wrong? Is it all my fault? So good. By the way, that album, Love, Marriage, and Divorce, one of the greatest albums I've ever listened to. I definitely recommend it to anybody who is an R&B music lover. Good morning, Brittany. Thank you so much. I don't even remember where I got these from. I think I got these from Aldo a very, very, very long time ago, and I just found them in my jewelry box for the first time in a long time. Ali says he's a jerk. Make his pockets hurt. Indeed. Like I could have sworn like he cheated or he did something terrible to her. So why are they trying to like kind of like sanitize the image, right? All of a sudden, what happened, you guys? Does anybody else remember? Ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. And I agree, JT. Let me go ahead and put her picture back up. She is so damn beautiful. And her body is insane. She is my fitness goals for real, for real, for real. And the fact that she says that she never really had to work hard to have like, you know, those sorts of abs and whatnot. It makes me want to just scream into a sock with a jealousy. So it looks like a lot of you guys are really, really rooting for this settlement and are happy to see that Teyana really, really got a good and fair judge here. Ashley says it's because he cheated and tried to come for her money first. All right, good. So why is she trying to tell us? I feel like she's been trying to gaslight us. We all know he cheated, right? And like he wanted to participate in all sorts of things that she at first was into, but no longer. It's kind of like, you know, Ashley Darby and Crocodile Dundee, right? Where, you know, the guys, they try to get you into these like threesomes, foursomes and whatnot. And then, you know, maybe at first you're into it, but, you know, when kids come and change the whole game for you, you're no longer into it. But, you know, at this point, their ex addiction is so strong that they can't stop. And so maybe they start doing things on their own. You know what's a good example of that? Someone who just fumbled it all for no freaking reason Robin Thicke. When he was married to Paula Patton, that relationship, they were swinging from the damn chandeliers. He could have done anything he wanted except one thing. And this fool had to go and do that one thing and to blow it all up. And then what did he do? He released this album trying to get Paula Patton back. I'm sorry, you guys, but these celebrity heartbreaks, like they produce such good music, because that's another heartbreak situation, album situation that came out with one of my favorite songs. I love Robin Thicke's Get Her Back. Incredible, incredible, incredible song, right? So why do they come and blow up their spots like they had it made in these relationships, right? Yay, he's freaking disloyal. Take notes, Miss Portia. Indeed. I'm happy that you guys are pro Teyana Taylor in this consideration. Jess says that she's wondering what he did that he wants to hide to agree to all of this. Good question, right? Speaking of hiding, he was trying to hide all of his money. He was sticking her with a bill. I remember she was also complaining that he refused to like maintain and finish paying his portion of the upgrades for one of their homes that she was living in with the children and whatnot, right? Like he really got so mean with her. So I'm happy that that came back and bit him in the behind. Caroline says, wow, sell those houses and get child support from that. Geesh, absolutely. Because it is true that in respect to everything else that she's gotten out of this, the child support is rather minimal. It's only $8,000 a month, but I don't think he's playing basketball anymore, which is why that's the case. But I'm glad that the actual tangible assets that she gets to walk away with can serve in helping her get even more money to use as a cushion for her daughters. And I love that song. Maybe it's the liquor, maybe it's the don't know what it. Oh, that album was so good. I wore it out. Guys, Teyana Taylor's VII album, I really, really recommend it to R&B lovers. How many of y'all are R&B lovers? Please tell me your favorite album, your favorite song. I'm going to go back, join the replay crew, which shout out to you guys, not my playback posse. Shout out. I was watching Kempire's Beverly Hills recap at the gym yesterday. That's why I have replay clue in my head. Those of you guys who are in my playback posse, let me know as well what your favorite R&B album is, R&B song, and I will be going back and writing it all down and putting it in my playlist because I'm an R&B lover. Iman was open and he took it too far. Then he aired her out. Yup, that's always the thing. You let them have an inch, and what do? They go ahead and take a damn mile. Another great song by I'm happy you guys are Teyana Taylor fans. Yes! Issues is so good. Hold on, don't let me. So damn good. I love everything about her and her music. And so once again, congratulations to you, Teyana Taylor, for making out like a bandit in this divorce. You deserve it after everything that you had to put up with from that man. And thank you for serving face. Ooh, Lord. Now, why don't we get into the Real Housewives of Atlanta? By the way, you guys, if you're enjoying this episode of The Morning Report, please don't hesitate to go ahead and give it a thumbs up at any time so that YouTube knows you enjoy my content and you want to continue seeing my videos. Now, The Real Housewives of Atlanta, they had their debut episode this past Sunday. Campfire Layla and I recapped it on Layla Lynn's channel. You guys can go ahead and check it out if you haven't already. We enjoyed the premiere episode. We thought it was okay. I think Kay and I gave it a 6 and Layla gave it a 9. It was pretty good. You know, it was nothing to write home about, but it was okay, right? It was cute to meet new people and whatnot. But apparently, in general, it only scored 720,000 total viewers and a 0.18 rating in the coveted 18 to 49 demographic, making it a series all-time low in terms of season premieres. You know, and I'm actually quite surprised to hear that because 723K to me still sounds really good. And I think it's because the primary show that I recap here on the Grace Report is Teen Mom Next Chapter, right? And Teen Mom Next Chapter, their viewership is like 100,000. 200,000, like if we're lucky these days. It used to be in the millions. It used to be like this, 700-800K. But these days, for the past several years, it's been extremely, extremely, extremely low. So to me, Real Housewives of Atlanta, after 16 seasons, still racking nearly 1 million viewers, I find that to be rather impressive. I do. Overall, I do have to be honest with you guys, though. I think it could have been better, but I'm still looking forward to seeing how this season of the show continues to progress. And I will be recapping it with you here on the Morning Report on Mondays. So definitely make sure to keep checking in so that we could talk about that show together. Okay, you guys? I did see that Theo had made a comment earlier about the Real Housewives of Atlanta. He said, I don't think RHOA's numbers are, oh, there you go, are terrible. 723 is only under New Jersey and Beverly Hills in terms of most recent premieres. RHOA's premiere numbers were much worse. And RHOA, that reboot was absolutely atrocious. I went back and watched that like big episode where Bryn got caught lying about Uba. Oh, I said, how the hell did you guys keep up with these people? Lord, a mess. I'm sorry, but I can't think of anybody on that show that I find to be entertaining. Sorry, not even Uba. I didn't really care for any of those people, to be honest with you. Good morning, Trin, and good morning to everybody else tuning in for today's morning report. Theo, I completely agree with you. I feel like 723, especially for those of us who are avid Teen Mom viewers, like those are pretty good numbers. In fact, that reminds me that I have to go back and check on how many people tuned in for Gypsy Rose's show. I need to go ahead and watch it and recap it for you guys, so stay tuned for that. But I forgot, or I haven't seen anything come out about that yet. It's only been 2 days or so, so I don't think we're going to get that information for a while. But I'm definitely going to keep an eye out on that. I know that by the way, Meghan Markle's show, shout out to you, Theo, shout out to you, Ramster, my Sussex squad. Her show with Love Meghan, that show, it got over 2 million views. It's at 2.5 million or something like that in the top 10 globally, which I am so happy for her over. Stephanie said RHOA fumbled the bag getting rid of Kenya. I agree. But my thing is, why does Kenya have to take things to that level? You know, even in that debut episode, she was over there like picking at that girl about her engagement ring and stuff. Like, she's mad that girl's still married and she got divorced, you know, from a man who never even really liked her or anything like that. Like, I think unfortunately she's got, you know, and it's so crazy and hypocritical to say, I like Kenya, right? I try, like, my base is liking her and she disappoints me, of course, right? But I like her, but I think she's got a very ugly spirit these days. And I used to just see her as like, oh, it's just a villain, it's just an act. But I think that with everything that's happened to her, maybe with like the whole Matt fiasco, then the Mark fiasco, Walt, all this stuff, it's just built up and turned into just this very like sort of thing. Like there have been these moments where I just truly have been like, oh my God, like this woman is low-key horrific. Number one was when she bullied that lady, Tootie. Remember when Kim Fields came on the show and Kenya was so vicious to her and her family for no reason? She pulled that chair out from under her. I said, girl, you're like 50 years old acting like that. That's disgusting. Okay. And then there was a moment where, what was the other moment? Where Cynthia was about to get engaged to that guy, Mike. And what does Kenya do? She knew it. And she wanted to ruin Cynthia's engagement. She's like, oh, Cynthia, I think you're going to get engaged here. She played dumb about it. Like, oh my God, I can't believe, but girl, she knew. And then there was another time where she wanted to humiliate Cynthia. Cynthia came out with like a wine brand or a wine cellar. And then Kenya just started like putting her on the spot in front of everybody, asking her all of these like super duper specific technical questions about wine to make it look like she's stupid and she had no business getting into the wine business. You know, like I think she's got a very, very ugly soul, unfortunately. And I hate that because I think she got too into the role of villain. I don't think that's who she is fundamentally, but I think the show changed her for the worse. Good morning, Lotus Flower. Nice to see you. Steph says, I have to share my apple. Oh, and by the way, thank you, Steph. I saw East Awesome and everybody else coming in with their Houston Rose as well. Hey, girl, I saw you guys coming in with your R&B recommendations. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to go back, join my playback posse, and take notes on everything you guys love because I am such, and I've been, and you know, I'm mainly like a 2000s. I know a lot of people like the 90s, but I'm a 2000s girly too. Theo says RHOA definitely has a soft reboot going on. I think so too. And I think that, you know what, Shamia could be very good at the head of that because she's been around us long enough, right? Granted, it was in the friend capacity, but we have enough familiarity with her that like she could be good as an anchor for this new iteration of the show. Hi, Sharon Eyes, Up in the Club. I've never heard that. I'm gonna check it out. I am so happy with all of these recommendations. Theo says watching the latest RHOA reunion again sounds traumatic. Ugh, I only saw those clips on social media. It was just too heavy and too ugly. And from what I recall or saw in like the social sphere of that, they kind of let Brynn get off easy, and then Brynn started crying and stuff to where Uba had to comfort her, as if this isn't the girl that was trying to ruin her life. A mess, right? Bravo made us wait for the reboot. Of course, RHOA was going to lose some of its loyal followers. I agree. But you know what? Nonetheless, I'm impressed with those numbers. I really am. Hey, Farrah. Same, did not like any of the cast of the New York Housewife. Lotus wants to bring Kenya back. It looks like a lot of y'all are Team Kenya. Listen, maybe they will eventually, but I do think that Kenya needs to play it smarter. Because there is another Bravo housewife who also is very like nasty and jealous, and it's Giselle, right? But Giselle is smarter about it, and that's why, well, actually not really. She probably should have suffered some repercussions for the rumors that she spread about Chris, the fake rumors she spread about him, right? Anyway, I think she needs to get smarter with her villainism. She really should. You guys, we do have a lot more content to get into. We're going to talk about Wendy Williams' niece. Could she be facing criminal charges of kidnapping her just for taking her out to dinner? Well, that is what the facility that Wendy Williams is currently trapped in is trying to do to her. And I'm going to talk all about that. Wig Zolciak also has a new boyfriend, so we're going to get into that story as well. Granted, she is being, rather coy about her relationship. By the way, Tracy, I love your glasses. That is such a beautiful color on you. Wow, I love that. So we're going to talk about that. Kim Kardashian, she bought her own engagement ring from when she was engaged to Chris Humphries. We're going to talk about that as well. And then the track and field athlete who beat her competitor over the head with her metal baton. Stay tuned, you guys. I will catch you on the flip side. We got a word from some of our sponsors. I'm going to take a little bit of a water break. Keep on letting your comments flow, especially if they are R&B or neo soul song recommendations, and I'll catch you on the flip
The Morning
side.
Report is brought to you by Philo. Watch your favorite shows and movies from over 70 different channels, including MTV, TLC, WeTV, and more for only $28 a month. Get a free trial today by clicking the link in the description box of this video to get your free trial up and running. Are you looking for the perfect skincare products for women over 30? Look no further than RHOA. RHOA is a skincare brand born from love and made for parents. Their flagship product, the Resilience Cream, delivers clinically proven age prevention benefits such as average 14% wrinkle reduction after 4 weeks of use. Click the link below and receive 30% off your first purchase today.
All righty, you guys. We have to get into the Wendy Williams of it all. That entire saga has just been so alarming. I still do not understand why the judge and the conservator are so hell-bent on locking Wendy up. They're trying to convince everybody that she's got dementia, that she's not of sound mind. But now we have gathered over an hour's worth of audio of her talking, and she sounds like her old self again. And, her niece has been trying to help her as well, trying to allow them to at least let her watch over Wendy, if that is the case or need be or whatever. But they want her to specifically be locked away in this tower. And Wendy is calling corruption on it all. She says that the conservator is trying to convince everybody that she is not of sound mind because the conservator wants to win the lawsuit that she has filed against A&E on Wendy's behalf. And so basically the lawsuit says that Wendy was put into the documentary against her better judgment. She wasn't of sound mind to be featured in that documentary. And so they owe her a lot of money, right? And so obviously the conservator wants a piece of that money for being the one to bring the case to court. And to me, the idea that they want to go ahead and do this to her, and seeing how hard she's fighting against this, she's dropping notes out the window, banging on the window, she's talking to every outlet, and they are still so desperate for this. It makes no sense. It's absolutely crazy. By the way, you guys, the judge overseeing Wendy Williams's conservatorship, she was investigated in the past for being bribed by people for putting people in conservatorships, right? Which looks like that might have been what happened this time around as well. We talked about this months and months and months ago when Wendy started speaking out against the conservatorship, but Sabrina Morrissey, the woman who is the conservator of Wendy Williams right now, she was tracked putting money into the judge's pockets for some sort of an election or whatever, keeping her on the bench or whatever. Things like this are what the judge was initially investigated for a couple of years ago. So the fact that it looks like that's happening here again, right in front of us all, and Wendy, as hard as she's trying to escape, it doesn't look like she's going, like, you know, I don't know how she's going to be able to get out of this, but it's crazy to me that with all of this information against them, their victim, Wendy, speaking out against them, they are still hell-bent on locking her up. Again, there are people out here in the world, right, with drug addictions, with alcohol addictions, with dementia, with Alzheimer's, who are quadriplegic, all sorts of things, right, where it's difficult to navigate life as an independent adult, yet they have the right to their own autonomy. So why is Wendy any different than them? You know, okay, so maybe what is the new story they're spinning about her? She had freedom before, but then she went up to the all-you-can-drink bar and got drunk. Okay, there are drunks in this world, you know, and they're allowed freedom. I'll tell you this, every single day I walk out of my house, I see at least 10 drunks a day. They're allowed out and about. Why can't Wendy? Why can't Wendy? It just does not make any kind of sense. So I will tell you guys this, the latest update that I've got on them, shout out to TMZ, Harvey Levin is very, very invested in this. In fact, when the police that Wendy Williams got help from someone on the street to call, when they got up to her room, she was already on the phone with Harvey Levin from TMZ, and she had him speak to the police and tell them that she's okay. And he said, yeah, she's okay. We don't know why they're trapping her under this system. It is all corrupt. There's no reason for her to be in this situation. Everybody is fighting for her. The Breakfast Club, we're fighting for her. It's so unreasonable. It really, really is. So basically, the facility that she's been locked in, they have reportedly filed a police report against Wendy's niece, Alex Finney. So that is the woman in this photograph with Wendy. She has been everywhere by her side, advocating for her on every platform. She is as good as it gets in terms of nieces, family members. She really has been in her corner every step of the way. And you know why they're trying to report her? Because Alex took Wendy from the hospital out to an Italian restaurant to go ahead and have dinner. They're saying that that was not something that she should have been able to do, and so it was kidnapping. And I find it crazy that they're alleging this while at the same time claiming that Wendy is lying and that Wendy has always been free to come and go as she pleases from that facility. So if that's the case, why is it that people have to go through a series of interrogation questions in order to be potentially given the right to go upstairs and see Wendy? If that's the case, why is it that Wendy is saying that she's only been out one time in the past 30 plus days outside of this hospital stint, right? Why is it that her niece taking her out to dinner is considered kidnapping by your facility if Wendy is a free woman allowed to come and go as she pleases? It just does not make any sense. So sources connected to Wendy say that the living facility called the NYPD and filed a police report claiming that Alex evaded staff by taking Wendy out of the building. The reports state that Wendy is not allowed to leave the 5th floor memory unit without an attendant pushing the elevator button. However, it was reported that an attendant accompanied Wendy and Alex down to the lobby and opened the Uber door so they could depart. However, a letter that the outlet obtained last night from the lawyer representing Wendy's guardian says Wendy is free to come and go from the facility she pleases. So you see, that is a contradiction there. They're saying she's free to come and go, yet Apparently she's not, because here comes the police report where they're trying to restrict her freedom of movement. And Wendy also said on TMZ that the judge herself has been threatening to put tougher restrictions on her because of her speaking out to the press. Again, this is insane. This is a 50-something-year-old woman just wanting to live her life, just wanting to be free. And to think that this is caused by her son and his foolish, reckless spending. 6 figures worth of Uber Eats, renting out a boat for like another 6 figures, spending like a damn fool, money he didn't earn, flagged all these accounts. On top of that, he tried to get a woman to impersonate Wendy, to allegedly try to get a woman to impersonate Wendy to get access to her money. All of this from the son that she hoped and prayed and suffered to conceive into birth. I just cannot imagine how painful that betrayal must be for Wendy, because we all know how much she suffered to have that child who would turn around and do something like this to her. Disgusting on every level. Brittany says, Wendy is such a fighter, and I love it. I agree. Caroline says, it's funny, homeless people everywhere, but they're so concerned for Wendy. Exactly, right? It's not illegal to have an alcohol problem. It's not illegal to have dementia. So why is she being treated like it is? Why is she being singled out? Hopefully Wendy Williams has addressed her addiction issues. That will determine if Wendy can get out and stay out of that conservatory. But that's the thing, like, this isn't a rehab, you know, like if someone has a problem, send them to a rehab or whatever. But this is a prison. And the fact that she's been trapped in there for 8 months, that's crazy. That's crazy. I feel like I sound like R. Kelly in that interview with Gail. Is this camera on? That's crazy. Crystal, it's so sad what they're doing to her. It really, really is. Like, there's no reason for this. I don't think that any of what they're claiming Wendy has is a justifiable excuse for treating her this way, in my opinion. But listen, Wendy is still fighting. And I do think that in the end, she will come out victorious. And I still am hoping and praying that she will turn around and sue the pants off of the Guardian and sue the pants off of the judge, get that judge investigated for corruption, maybe even get that judge imprisoned, maybe even get that Guardian imprisoned. These people are dirty. These people are shady. And I do not for 1 second believe that they are acting in Wendy's best interest. Theo says Big and Little Kev should be ashamed of how they treated Wendy. Exactly. These people only see her as a cash machine. And I'm sorry, but why do these people feel so entitled to her money? Little Kev, she put you through school. She put you in a beautiful home and everything. And this is how you turn around and repay her? Like, you can start working, and she had the connections to help him get up there and start making a lot of that money on his own. You know what I just heard? You know that family here in France that owns LVMH? Like, one of the sons, he's like 29 years old. They just named him like CEO of one of these major luxury brands or whatever. The other one is CEO of RHOA and stuff. Like, that could have been for Wendy's son. She could have gotten him connections, not CEO level connections, right? But like connections to do things. And that make him a lot of money. And this is what he chose to do instead, because he's lazy and he's entitled and he's a prick. Stephanie says she needs to sue Wells Fargo as well. I agree. I agree. This was just one of the most shocking stories, right? Patty says 6 figures on Uber Eats is actually insane. It is. Like, what in the big bag hell are you doing? Buying 6 figures worth of takeout food. Like, that is ridiculous. That is honestly shameful, to be honest. Like, go spend that on like a grocery delivery, eat proper food. But if you're spending that on fried food, burgers, whatever, like, you got a lot to think about when it comes to, just because you can, or just because your mama can with her money, doesn't mean that you should be taking her money to do that, right? It's not right. Being a felon isn't illegal, y'all. I've never hogtied. Oh God, that interview really was absolutely crazy. Now, you guys, why don't we get into Wig Zolciak? We've got another Real Housewives of Atlanta story. Do y'all remember her? Do y'all miss her on RHOA? If they were to bring her and her wig back on the show, do you think that would boost the ratings? What about Nene? I know like the RHOA ladies are actually rather partial to Kim. They do talk about how like, they wouldn't mind her coming back on the show. So I don't know. And now that she's single, she's in a desperate need of money and everything. Like I could see her really coming and bringing it. In fact, we only got a little bit of a feud between Kim and Kenya, and it was really ugly. She did not back down. And I actually low-key would like to go ahead and see it again. Especially now that she doesn't have the husband card to throw around. Remember, when she was talking down to Kenya, it was, you don't have a husband, you ain't got no man. And now you don't either, right? You don't either. Your husband, your wig, all of those are in foreclosure. So what are you going to hold over Kenya's head now? I want to see them fighting on even ground, because Kenya can't do that to her either. Her marriage is over too. Anyway, Kim is dating again. She's got a new boyfriend. Like I mentioned earlier, she doesn't want to give too many details about it. However, TMZ's cameras were over there talking to her at LAX on Tuesday, and she says that she's been with this guy for a little while now, and she's loving life. But stay tuned, because as of yet, she is not ready to talk about exactly who it is. Do y'all think it's another sugar daddy situation, or do y'all think it's another young tenderoni situation? I kind of think that she's probably, after going for the tenderoni and running his pockets and going broke, I think that she's ready for like another sugar daddy, in which case, girl, go for it. Go for it. You only live once. And you are a woman who likes to spend as much as possible. So I think that it's time for you to get yourself another Big Papa. By the way, that whole Big Papa situation was wild, like a blatant sugar baby on a Real Housewives show. Typically, they pretend that they marry for love, right? Ashley will claim to the death of her that she married for love. Gretchen, when she was with that guy, she claimed it was for love. All of these people will always claim that. But Kim Zolciak, she was very open. She said, I got a sugar daddy and he's married and I don't care. That was wild. Jen, I'm so sorry. But you know what? We still have some show left. Don't worry. Pull up a chair. We're still here. We're still here for a little bit. Nice to see you. Good morning. Yes, as Portia says, and I know that Kim likes Portia, so I do think that would be rather interesting to see how it goes. I know that Stephanie, though, isn't feeling her. Allie doesn't want her without Nene. Thank you, Lotus Flower. That is so nice. April says, nope, but Nene, yes. And speaking of Nene, you guys, Nene was caught on TMZ cameras saying that, she now has left the door open to the possibility of returning to the Real Housewives of Atlanta. I don't know if you guys also saw, but she did just drop a trailer for her new YouTube show. So she's going to be interviewing Carlos King. I forgot who else she had over there in the trailer, but it's kind of like a talk show sort of a situation, podcast sort of a vibe. So good luck to her on that. Didn't she used to have like some other YouTube series where she would just talk about like the show and her life and stuff like that? It seems like she really is kind of scrambling and throwing everything at the wall and seeing what sticks, because I do remember her also doing a trailer. She was filming in Lenithia Lounge, and it was a bunch of guys, and they were just talking about hot topics and stuff, so she's had a couple of projects that she's put out there online, but she's never really stuck with anything. And I think that that's what makes all the difference. You have to persevere. Maybe at the beginning, you're not going to see the success or the traction or whatever that you want, but so long as you persevere and you keep on improving, everything will come in due time. So not that she needs me for advice, but that's the kind of advice that I would give to people like Nene who expect instant results. Cal says, Kim doesn't want to be around certain people. So, you know what? That's the thing. She got so big for her bridges when she landed the NFL player. And now that she doesn't have him, I don't think she's going to be playing that card anymore. Oh, let's go. What was his name? Croy. We're out of here sort of a thing. I will say, though, that I'm still disgusted by the way she treated that Sweetie lady. I heard Sweetie's doing well and that she's looking really good. But yeah, I didn't like the way that she treated her. Lotus says, where's Big Papa go? Is he in the club? I hope not. Why would you say that? I don't know. I don't. Is he still married? Is he divorced? I could have sworn that's what I heard, Theo. I'm not one to gossip, though. You didn't hear it from me, but that's what I heard. I thought that Big Papa and his wife got divorced, in which case maybe that leaves up an opening for Kim. Houston doesn't want Kim. The police videos with Croy made her look terrible. It's true. The way that they were just calling the cops on one another, and with the children in the home and everything, they were so damn shameless with it all. They really were. Farrah doesn't think that Kim would fit in with the new girls. I see. Yeah, I can see why you say that. It's been so long, right, that I think that any natural chemistry that she had with the girls would be gone by now. Steph says, as Kim is back, we need Kenya and Candy back too. It's only right. But the thing is, you know what? Isn't Phaedra supposed to be making an appearance this season? Because I think that that's the reason why they decided not to renew Candy for this season. Correct me if I'm wrong. And you know what, lovely? I was actually just talking about that I'm going to be watching that after doing this morning report and then coming back to do a recap on it. Absolutely. Every time I see your icon, I think of those little like online games that I used to play on my computer. So nostalgic. Shemjem says Nene is iconic. It's true. There's no RHOA without Nene. It just has never really been the same since her departure. Now, you guys, why don't we get into Kim Kardashian buying her own engagement ring? Oh my God. When I heard this, I was just so embarrassed for her. I said, this is a story I would take to the grave. Again, when you were this freaking beautiful, coming out and telling people that you bought your own engagement ring because you were so desperate to be married is just so damn embarrassing. You know, you look like this and you were doing all of that to marry this guy. Really? And you didn't even actually like this guy. That's why your marriage only lasted like 2 months. That is insane. So in the most recent episode of The Kardashians, Kim, in conversation with Khloe, said that she wonders what her next ring shape will be because, of course, Kim wants to get married for a 4th time. I think that her marriage is just a joke and a party. It's kind of like a birthday party, right? I think your average person would kind of like have some kind of like hesitation about walking down the aisle a 4th time. I personally, if I were to get married like multiple times, I think like after like the 2nd time, I just wouldn't have any more weddings. I would just do a quiet little thing away. No nothing, no gifts, no hoopla, no nothing. I'm not saying that that's the way it should be. It's just me as a person, right? Like I just be like, I don't want to jinx it this time. Maybe it's the big, you know what I mean? Like this, I don't want to have people come from everywhere, come give me money, spend all their money, you know, because the odds are not in my favor, right? But Kim does not care. She said, I will get married 4, 5, 6 times. I do not care. So she's on the show. She's musing about what her next ring shape will be, right? As she goes down memory lane about all of the rings she had in the past. She was like, number 1 was a cushion cut 14 karat. By the way, does she mean 14 karat gold? Because I think it's crazy that she had a 14 karat diamond ring, yet she couldn't afford to hire a lawyer for her divorce. It's not making sense to me. It's not. I think she would have sold that ring, right, to hire a lawyer. Because in another story we did on last week's morning report, we talked about how she had to go to her younger sister, Khloe, who was still living at home. She had to open up Khloe's piggy bank in order to get money for a divorce lawyer. So if you had a 14 karat diamond ring, why didn't you pawn that? I don't know. I don't believe it. Anyway, then she says the second engagement ring that came from that Chris Humphries proposed to her with, that she bought on her own, was an 18 karat emerald cut from Lorraine Schwartz. And she told Khloe that she didn't keep it. She was pregnant with North at the time while still married to Chris. And in order to divorce him, he said that she had to give him the ring in the divorce. And the crazy thing about that is that she paid for it all except for 1/5. That's all that he contributed towards it, you guys. Again, Kim, I think, you know, as beautiful as she is and as revered as she is around the world for her beauty and everything and her body and whatnot, I think that she's got very, very low self-esteem. Because how the heck do you end up in that situation? How? When you, like, I just, it's crazy to me. It really, really is. I think that this all comes down to jealousy. Because in that season of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, she was a terror to her younger sister, Khloe. Khloe at the time had met Lamar Odom. They fell wildly, passionately in love and decided to get married within 30 days of meeting. And do you guys remember how Kim would make all of these sly little comments about it? Like, oh my God, like, why would you do that? You don't know him. It's weird. And then Rob called her jealous. And Kim, what does she respond? Unprovoked. She says, no, I'm not jealous. I wouldn't want to be with someone like tall and stuff. Marry someone I don't really know like that. And what does she do? Literally within the year, she finds someone tall and she marries him within like 30, 40 days as well. She wanted to compete so badly with her little sister. And look at how that blew up in her face. And she knew from the very beginning that it was not going to last. And she said, okay, I knew it wasn't going to last. I knew I shouldn't have gone through with it. However, production, everything was already set up. People were coming from far and wide. I didn't want to be known as the runaway bride. So instead, what did you choose? To be the girl who got divorced in 72 days, which was equally, But I think the distraction of getting knocked up by Kanye covered a lot of the blow back from that, because people were like, what was this? Just fake? What was it, just for publicity? And Chris really, truly fed into that. Do you guys remember? He was feeding the beast back in the day. Bunny says, Kim called the cops on her husband over the living room furniture. He was legally entitled to take it. Who does that? I never heard that. Damn. Stephanie said, I believe Phaedra is coming back since Kandi left. Kandi left on her own. Yeah, so that's the thing. Now that Phaedra's back in season 16, you're not really going to see, now that Phaedra's back, you're not going to see Kandi this time around. Cal says, during this time, Kim was so naturally beautiful. I wouldn't say naturally, but she was very, very beautiful. She still is, but just in a less, it's just a different kind of beauty. This kind of beauty that she had back in the Reggie era, that she had back in the, what is his name? The Chris Humphries era. That was completely different. Theo says embarrassing is basically part of the Kardashian brand. Lovely says, I mean, the whole wedding was just for the show. So to her, it was just a prop, which I agree. Do you think she got it written off or something like that just because of the fact that she, she only saw it all as just like this one big act that she had to go through for the sake of her television show? I would not be surprised. Houston says anything for a storyline with these people. I agree. They truly blur the line between television, entertainment, and real life. And I think that even themselves, they've gotten caught up in that and lost in that. And I think it shows in the way that they look these days too. When we go back to talk about natural beauty and whatnot, there's nothing wrong with getting work done, but just the extent to which they have done this stuff is very much like, I think that they see themselves as like avatars or something like that, or as characters and people that have to be perfect. Whereas, what people loved about them, especially at the beginning, was just their authenticity and imperfection and stuff like that. They were already so, enticing to people and beautiful to people without all of this work and whatnot, right? So very, very sad how all of that ultimately wound up panning out. Again, that is a secret that I would have taken to the grave. The fact that I bought my own engagement ring and then had to give it back to the guy on top of that. And I knew I never even wanted to marry that guy. Like, that must have been heavy. Does anybody know if Kim even wound up going to therapy over that? Because if she didn't go to therapy over that, I really do suggest that she does unpack that before going and looking for husband number 4. I do find it weird that she's still out here looking for a 4th husband with the sort of track record that she has. I kind of wonder why at this point in her life, especially with everything that is on the line for her, I don't understand why she feels like she has to get married again. She should do like her mother does, right? Kris Jenner has been in a relationship with Corey for the past 11 years, and she doesn't want to get married again. She's already been there, done it twice, and her marriages are long-standing marriages, unlike Kim's, but twice is enough for her. Like, she doesn't need to go through it again. And I'm kind of surprised that Kim's not there, but I think Kim just loves the attention that comes with weddings and being a bride and stuff. And so maybe that's what she's addicted to, more so than the relationships and the people and the love and stuff like that, right? So Lisa says, people want to get married so bad, it's so weird. Exactly. Like, even if they know the person is not there forever, they're not all that compatible with them, they just want to go ahead and say that they did it. I think this applies to even Kenya. Look at that marriage that she had with that guy. Like, that guy hated her. He treated her like garbage, and it looked like they barely even knew each other, and yet she married him, and I think there are other housewives as well who have found themselves in these kinds of, like, really, look at Adrienne and Paul from Beverly Hills. Like, my question was, did they ever like each other? Because that was like hard to watch, right? Britt says, so my engagement ring slid off my finger. Oh no. And I didn't realize exactly when it happened, but I was too devastated to say anything at first. When I told him, I cried. Oh my God. Oh my God, that must have been brutal for you. He said it was just a ring. I still don't have the heart to replace it, but he wants to get me one eventually. I couldn't imagine buying my own like him. Oh my God, Britt, I'm so sorry. That must have been so brutal. And I just imagine that it's still so heart-wrenching to have lost that. Because even if it gets like replicated one for one, right? It's not the same as the original. In fact, it's just the energy, the memories and everything, you knowing that it's not the original. So I'm really, really sorry about that. Stephanie says Kim's Reggie era, right? She was gorgeous in that era. Again, she's still very beautiful, but it's more so like Avatar, like, what do you call these? Uncanny Valley pretty these days. Lisa says, did you ever watch? Yeah, I did. I loved it. Last week we talked about Shahs of Sunset. Paulina filed a restraining order against Gigi because Gigi beat her up allegedly at a mall and stuff. Theo says Adrian and Paul had an old bickering couple dynamic. Works for some people, but not them in the wrong run. Yeah, it was so toxic. But you know what? I felt like it was very one way. He seemed like a puppy dog, like really, really sweet guy. And she seemed like a very mean person who was just always looking, she was kind of like Kate from John and Kate +8, like you could breathe and it would irritate her, sort of a vibe, Cal says she definitely needs therapy after being married to Kanye. I agree. Like that was a terrible, terrible, terrible divorce to go through. And now look, having to co-parent with him as he is spiraling off the hook, off the rails and everything is absolutely brutal. I feel for her in that regard. And you guys, we're on to our last story of the day. I can't believe it already. The track story. Once again, shout out to you, Jaleesa, for bringing up athletics. It's funny you even brought it up because I had this queued up, and I think this is the first time in a long time we're even going to talk about athletics at all on this channel. But did you guys see this video or hear about the situation where these high school sprinters were doing some sort of a relay race, and one of them just bops the other one in the head with her baton? Apparently those batons are metal, by the way. When I used to do this in like elementary school, they were plastic. I had no clue that these people were doing it with metal ones. Jesus. So it was high school senior Alayla Everett who hit high school junior Kaylin Tucker with the baton in the head while running beside her. So in the video footage, you see her swinging her baton, appearing to strike Tucker in the head before Tucker drops her baton and falls off to the side. So Bethany Harrison, who is the Commonwealth's attorney for the city of Lynchburg, in which this took place, confirmed to news outlets that a misdemeanor charge of assault and battery was issued against Ms. Everett, Alayla Everett, for hitting the other girl in the head with that baton. Can you imagine that? You're running a damn high school track meet. It's high school. This ain't the pros. And you decide to bop another girl in the head. And now you've caught yourself criminal charges over it. How stupid can you be? I mean, truly, truly, how stupid can you be, right? So the alleged victim, Kaylin Tucker, did an interview with WSET News, and she said that she was so in disbelief after the incident that she didn't even know what happened at all. She got hit in the head and just fell off the track. And her mother says that she got a slight concussion and possible skull fracture. This is major, you guys. Again, those batons are metal. And she said, I still can't believe it. I'm still in shock. Like everyone's texting me, checking up on me. And I appreciate that. But like, I'm trying to take it all in and I can't believe it happened. Listen, I wouldn't be able to believe it either. And so the girl over there looking like she's, winding her arm up. She's like this in the photo, like, let me wind that arm up before I bop you in the head. Now, all of a sudden in her own interview, she's like, oh, I would never do that on purpose. That is not in my character. She was touching me to the point where I was pumping my arm and the baton was hitting her arm. I lose my balance, my whole body turns, and then I pump my arms. So she got hit. It was an accident. Listen, girl, I don't think it was smart to go ahead on the record and give an interview about this because now you got to stick to this story in court. And I'm not so sure how well this version of events is going to hold up when videos are there, eyewitnesses were there and everything as well. That was, as Houston Rose says, I'm sorry, girl, that was not an accident. The lack of accountability from her and her parents, I don't blame the other family for suing. So now suing, criminal charges as well. It is not looking good at all. Lotus Flower says she needs a different outlet. Abso-freaking-lutely. That is not normal behavior. Farrah says she's Tanya Harding her butt. This has happened in the Olympics, right? Is that who that Tanya Harding you're referring to? There you go. Yep. So this has happened as well. Listen, Professionally, okay, money is on the line, everything's on the line. Don't do it, but I get it more than high school. High school, really? Come on now. EH Bunny says this was an accident. The attacker swung twice at her head and she kept running the race. Just terrible. Like, she should have stopped, checked on her at the very least if she wanted to go with this. But you know what? I think because she's a high schooler, she probably thought like not much would come of it. And fortunately for the victim, she was wrong, and this is being taken seriously. So the president of the track meet, they did call the victim's family and just apologize for the situation, wish them well, try to offer resources as well. So I'm really, really happy that they are taking it seriously. Again, the victim's mother says that she suffered a concussion and a possible skull fracture. I hope that that's not the case, especially the skull fracture, because that would be absolutely shocking, horrific to suffer for the rest of your life with a skull fracture because of a stupid high school level track mate. Like, how absolutely insane. You know, 2 futures ruined over a little game in high school. Yuck. Poor her. I really, really hate that this happened to her. And I wish Kaylin Tucker well. You guys, we have come to the end of today's morning report. Per usual, thank you so much for tuning in and chatting with me. And thank you so much, extra thank you, for your R&B recommendations. I'm about to join my playback posse so I can take notes, see what y'all said in the live chat, and so I can see what the playback posse says in the comment section of this video as well, and get to adding to my playlist. Take good care of yourselves, and I'll see you again tomorrow at 10 a.m. Central Time with more of the day's hottest stories. See you guys. Have a good day.